everybody. This is Sherry Hughes. I'm the newest design team member for Country Craft Creations. An exclusive paper line that they carry is Love You Forever. Absolutely gorgeous paper, and I decided that it would make a perfect Mother's Day card. So I'm going to share a quick walkthrough of the card with you, and then I'm going to do a tutorial. So stay tuned for both. First, this is the card itself that we're going to be doing. Isn't that pretty? It's just so lovely. And then when you open it up, it has a great little inside message, a mother's love. But that's not the part that's special. You can lift it up and make an easel out of it so that it will stand by itself, giving your mom a little bit of love all year round. She can prop this up. You can see that it has a fold to it, and we're going to make this card in just a few moments. So stay tuned. Let's make a beautiful card for your mom. Now the papers that we're using, the Love You Forever collection comes in a 12 by 12, a 6 by 6, and an 8 by 8. Now I've used several sheets of my 6 by 6. That's what we're using here today. And I'll provide you with a link down below as to where you can purchase this online from Country Craft Creations. What I really love about the collection, not only the beautiful pieces of the mother and children, but the backgrounds. They're rich, they're full, and they're just gorgeous. So you get three of each size, you get three of each sheet design. This is the one that I used on my card. And the one we're going to use today will be this one. We're going to use a little bit different color scheme so I can show you two different ones. How does that sound? A piece of paper. This paper is 4 inches by 8 inches with a score in the middle at the 4-inch mark along the 8-inch. So if you put your 8-inch piece across the top, you'll see that you score right here. Okay? Then you've got to score for this fold. Let me show you the fold again. Here's the middle score line. We're going to score from this point to this point. Now, to do that, we're going to take our scoreboard. Notice I've drawn a straight line down the middle of my scoreboard. And I'm going to position that 4-inch line. All right, this is the inside of my card. At the bottom, I'm going to position this point right there on the line. Then I'm going to turn it diagonally so that I have this point on the line. Then I just simply score right down the middle. Does that make sense? I hope so. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fold our cardstock. Then we're going to fold our cardstock. And this is the way the fold of the easel is going to be. Again, that was 4 inches by 8 inches. Score on the 4. Put the bottom of the inside fold at the bottom. Put the diagonal point at the top and score that. Then when you fold it in, it'll fold over. Okay, now that we've actually established how to score and fold this, let's put the pieces together. Now the first thing we're going to start with is the background on our triangles. You can see them here. We're going to mat this one and we're going to mat this one. To do that, we're going to need to take a piece of gold cardstock, which is also available at Country Craft Creations, and we're going to cut it 3 13/16 by 3 13/16. Okay? The reason why we're cutting the squares, we're going to cut along the diagonal of this, and when we do, this is what we get, these two pieces. Does that make sense? So I cut my square. Then when I cut on the diagonal, same thing. Use my scoreboard, lay it down like that. When I cut those, I get 2 perfect triangles. Now, when I turn these over, you'll see that they fit perfectly on the lower portion of our triangle and on the upper portion. Now we're going to fill in with this background area here. Right, I'm back. So I took my square that I cut out, and again I turned it on my cutter and lined it up point to point at a diagonal, and I cut down the middle so that my mat will actually fit. Now we're going to assemble our pieces together and complete the front. So I have glued the 2 pieces down to the front of my card. You can see the split is still there, and my card will fold nicely without a problem. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now to do this piece here. What I did was I chose one of the pieces. In fact, it was the other side of this particular piece. I used the die from the Heartfelt Creations die set, Cut Matte Create to Be. Love this set. I just got it yesterday. Enjoyed the heck out of it already. It's got matte sizes for you. This one is the 2.5 by 2.5. Has a couple of corners, which we're going to be using in a little bit. Look how big the corner is. Isn't that beautiful? So I took the 2.5-inch mat. I like using the die cut so I can see exactly what I'm cutting. So and I ran it through my die cut machine. Now let me remove my die. And there's our piece that's going to go in the center. Right there. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now we need to create a mat for it to go on. And if you'll notice on the one I've completed, I'll try to bring them both into frame. I used a square piece of gold cardstock. This is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to use the handy dandy corner rounder that I got at Country Craft Creations. And I'm going to punch the holes, or punch the corners, excuse me. Now notice I flipped my paper upside down because I want the cutter to press down into the gold so that it doesn't leave a little rough edge. So that's why I turn my paper upside down when I punch the corners. Now this will mat to that beautifully. So before we mat it, let's go ahead and distress those edges as well. Same ink, but I just want to rough it up a little bit, make it look a little bit more vintage. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. Yes, I'm a newbie. What can I say? Been stamping and scrapbooking and paper creating for 36, 37 years now, so I've been doing it a long time. That's why sometimes I'll even offer you a little trick or tip. Now, before I put my gold away, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that white core on the gold as well. I'm not going to try to get it on the front. I'm just going to do the edges so that it blends a little bit better. Now, to attach this to my gold, I'm not going to use glue. Yes, I love my art glitter glue, Yes, I sing praises about it all the time. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. But something new and exciting has made its way into my life. It is the new foam squares from Country Craft Creation. I know you've seen foam squares before, but these are different. Look, they're half the thickness of a normal foam square. Can you see that? Let me bring it up so you can see how thin they are. Yes, that is awesome. They're black, so they don't show up. I like that too. And I'm just going to go around the back of this and add some foam squares to make it pop a little. That one, I think this is 1/16 of an inch, if I remember correctly. I love foam tape. I buy it in large quantities. I'm partial to 1/16 inch and 1/32 inch if you ever find it. That's a hard one to find. Okay, so I put foam squares all over it. Now the reason I did that many is I like my paper to stay nice and smooth. And if I support it all over, it won't buckle. Let me remove these little backings. Now, I'm going to take this. It's not forgiving, so I've got to place it carefully, so forgive my head while I look over. And try to give myself an 1/8 inch border all the way around. That's real close, but not perfect. And I've already stuck it down, so we're stuck with it now. Literally, ha ha ha, pun intended. Now, so that's my centerpiece. And I used, and I failed to tell you this already, bad girl. Okay, the paper I used for this was not your standard paper. You can use cardstock, yes. But this is the Country Craft Creations 100-pound white cardstock. It holds the paper nicely in shape. So when you get your easel formed, it holds it rigid and is nice. My first one here I did in the ivory or the natural color artisan paper, and it didn't do quite as well as this one's going to do, but it did do a nice job of holding its shape. This one is going to be even better. So yes, I used white artisan cardstock. So what I am going to add to this is a 3x3, somewhere in there, a 3x3 square panel. And I rounded the corners again, just like I showed you a moment ago. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to attach this to this. Yes, I am going to glue those together. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. You got the measurements? 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. By the way, when you're gluing onto gold or mirror cardstock, be careful about putting too much glue. The cardstock does seem to slide easily, and you might mess up just a little bit. However, a damp or wet baby wipe will work wonders and take it off of your cardstock for you. So let me flip this over, smooth it out. Okay. Now that's our panel that's going to go on the front. You can mount it this way if you think that's a better feel for you, like that. But we're going to be mounting it just like this, so when they open the card, they can see clearly that they've got their, they can see that there's a beautiful picture in the middle. So now let's do the inside piece. And for the inside piece, we need a gold mat. You can make it 1/16 of an inch border, or you can make it an 1/8 of an inch border, whichever you prefer. You can cut that gold to either 3 7/8 or 3 13/16 square. So 3 7/8 gives you a little bit wider range. This one is 3 7/8. And I cut my paper to 3.5 by 3.5. And I'm going to mount it like this. Now there's a little bit of a groove on that paper. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's where my cutting blade popped up the edge just a smidgen. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to press it down. That way, when I get ready to mount it, those edges are perfect. It'll happen on your mirror cardstock as well. And yes, we are going to glue those pieces down flat. We're not going to be mounting those on a foam. So let me go ahead and glue this on. Well, before I do that, I think it's probably appropriate if I do a little test run here just to see if it's going to fit. Actually, I ended up with a 1/4 inch border. Okay, so the newbie came out in me. Okay, that looks mighty fine. That'll be beautiful. But I still think I want it smaller. So I'm going to go off camera and trim down that gold a little bit more. All right, I trimmed it down to 3 5/8. Let me write that on there so you can see it. Scratch that. Let's do 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. That worked much better. And I'll make a note on my notes so I know that I did it that way. All right, so I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to put it down. See, that's a much prettier mat then. It's not near, let me see if I can show you a little bit better. It's not near as visual as the other one. All right, so I'm going to glue that down. Now, which side do you think we ought to use? Now, if we did this side, when we lay this on here and we do it like that, it would look like this. I think that's a winner. What do you think? I do too. I think it's lovely. So let's plan on doing that. So I'm going to glue the other side. Remember what I said about trying to use less glue on gold cardstock. I'm going to mount this to the gold. Mount it first. And no, this doesn't make any difference which direction. Makes absolutely no difference. It's square. And the nice thing about gold is you can slide it a little bit till you're happy with it. Okay, there's our mat. I am very happy with that. It may not be perfect, but we're on camera, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll forgive me, I'm sure. Now I'm going to glue my mat. There goes your measurements, 3 5/8. And I'm going to glue it to where this pink is in this corner here. Hopefully I am on camera. Well, I didn't get it quite straight, so let me try again. You try doing this without being able to lean over it. It's not easy. Okay, there it is. So here's my basic card. Looks pretty good. All right, now we're going to, I wish I quit saying all right. You could make money if you bet on that, how many times I say it in a video. We're going to mount this to this front triangle. Now here's the deal. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark right underneath it because I want you to put adhesive only on this side. So let me share with you. Okay, it's going to hold like this, and this piece is actually going to be attached. This one is not. So you're going to attach this side. Being OCD, I mark it because I have flipped it upside down and then I'm embarrassed and, you know, the world comes to an end. I'm going to stick some more of our wonderful little half foam squares on here because I want it to pop up. Just a smidgen. You know, I might want to put one more there. Oh, and I can, of course, cut these in half. So I can use it on this half and on this half. I wish you could see my door. I have 3 dogs that are scratching at the glass door, wanting to join me and help me with my video. They are mama's puppies, and they do not like to be separated. Okay, now I'll turn this over. I'm going to center this. I've got to hold this down because it doesn't want to stay down by itself, okay? So I've got to hold that down and carefully place this in the middle. Now, you've not got them all over it, so you can move it if you need to. Press that down, and oh, it's coming together, guys. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so we've got the front just about done. We are now going to add the love on there. I'm going to share with you a die trick, so let me go ahead and get my stuff here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut the word love. Now, I used the Carta Gather at Home die set, which has the word love in it. I'm going to back out just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. When you purchase this die set, the dies do come together attached with fine steel lines. And you can take a plier like this and you can cut them apart. But be careful, that little remnant of the metal can stab you and cut you, so you have to be very careful. I personally prefer to leave them together and cut all my words at one time. That way I always have a little stash of words pre-cut in a variety of colors, because I'm only going to probably use one out of the whole collection. But today I needed the word love by itself, because here's what I'm going to do. If I were to take the word love and apply glue behind it, it's hard to attach because the word itself is very, very fine. So I'm going to take my cardstock in gold, and I'm going to take my 1-inch wide score tape, and I'm going to glue it to the back. I'm going to tape it down firmly to the back of my gold cardstock. Now, I'm going to lay the word love on there. Put a little bit of Post-it note tape, or whatever wonderful tape you use to hold it in place. And I'm going to die cut that out. Now, let me die cut that. So I die cut the word love out, and the backing comes off very easily before you actually take the word out of the die. I generally have to remove the word love by sticking my finger on it, and it sticks to it. Now, it has a permanent adhesive to the back of those letters. Isn't that wonderful? If the backing's not off, go ahead and pull it off. Then we're going to take a pokey tool here, and we're going to place this on our card. And you can place it anywhere you wish. I think I'm going to place it like that. Isn't that a neat trick? So you can use the score tape on the back of the gold foil and then die cut out the word. Of course, use the top of the gold against your die. Now for the inside of our card, we're going to take this small piece of ephemera that came in on the paper, and I cut it out. In fact, I cut it down to 1 3/8 by 1 7/8. And then I cut a little piece of gold cardstock, and I cut it 1 1/2 by 2. And before I attach that, again, I'm going to go through, distress those edges. You don't have to do this, but I think it kind of pulls it all together. I'm going to do the same with my gold. And I probably missed several pieces that I didn't distress. But on the gold, on the base here, it was against white paper. So I wanted to leave it. All right. now that we've distressed those two pieces, I'm going to attach these two. And if you'll notice, they're going to be glued down together. So let me glue those. That was a lot of glue. Let me tap that off onto something. There we go. And then stick that down to my cardstock. I've learned, keep a baby wipe handy when videoing. All right. Then this is going to be attached in here, and you can do it this way if you wish. You can turn it this way right up to the edges there, or you can put it further in if you'd like to put the easel up higher. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to put it right about there. Now to attach it down, again, I'm just going to use the thin black mounting foam. And I'm only going to put the mounting foam on the bottom edge of this instead of the whole thing. You can do it either way. I've always had good luck with this because then if I need to round this up just a little bit to make sure it holds the easel, I can do that without tearing the paper. So now I'm going to kind of center this right about there. Press it down. Let me see. And there we go. That is another thing I should have mentioned to you. You could angle this to match the fold of the easel perfectly too. Entirely up to you. I believe I did that on the first one. See how the angle matches there? Here I got it off just a little bit by placing this a little bit further down. If I'd moved it up a little bit, it would have held it equal. Now that I've gotten that done, we're going to add the embellishments. And the embellishments were super duper easy. Oh, and this was another piece of the ephemera. I just cut out one of the little picture frames, put some mounting foam underneath it, and stuck it in the corner because I thought it would be pretty, but I kind of like that green rose there. I probably won't put one there. For the vines, what I did do, you'll see a couple, I used that same die set, the Heartfelt Creations die set, which I've laid down again. This is that big scrolly corner I was telling you about. And all I did was take out of it what I wanted to use. I wanted to use inside of it these little leaves here. So I just simply took my scissors, snip that round, and I can change it any way I want. I wanted the curly cues, so I just kind of came down like that and over like that. And look, I have a pretty little curly cue now to go under the word mother. So let's attach it with a little bit of glue. And yes, I got enough for an army again. I know y'all are sitting there laughing, going, she makes so many mistakes. Or better yet, you're probably saying, maybe I've made that same mistake too. How does that look? That looks pretty good, guys. And then you can take a little bit of an embellishment, maybe a gold dot or a rhinestone, whatever you're comfortable using, and add it on there as well. Isn't that beautiful? And then I went back and I trimmed off this flower part up here with a leaf and used it on the top. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okie doke. And where do you think it will look the best? Not there. Oh, that might be good. Or maybe over here. Oh, I'm liking that. What do you think? I'm thinking right over here. Perfect. So we're going to take this one and again, glue it down. Just a couple of dots of glue will hold it. And I'm going to leave it up to do this gluing because I want to be able to see where I'm placing it in regards to the pictures. See what I mean? Now it looks better. All right, and I've got a little bit of something in there. I think it's glue. I can take care of that. Awesome. Now we'll press the leaf down to hold it and put a rhinestone in the center of that one. I think I'll put a bigger one. Right. These have adhesive backs on them. Golly, they're everywhere. You can get them at Country Craft Creations. I'm sure has enamel dots or rhinestones for you to use. You can always glue them down if they don't have adhesive. And you can add diamonds to the corners, however you would like to do it. But that's it, folks. That's the entire easel card. Let's take a look at it. Can you see it? That is really pretty. Any mother would be delighted to receive that in the mail, or in person for that matter. And you just fold it up like this. Be sure and put your name on the very back. You want her to know you created it. And there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed it today. Don't forget, check out the links below because you do want to go to Country Craft Creations and pick up Love You Forever. Like I said, it comes in 12 by 12, 8 by 8, and 6 by 6. I have all three. I am crazy about this paper, so you do need to pick some up. The die set was the Carta Home Together Word dies and the Heartfelt Creations Cut Matte Create 2B. And there's some pretty mats in there and stuff too, so you might want to check that one out as well. I'll put all the links below so that you'll know exactly where to do your shopping. And of course, you don't want to forget those fantastic little mounting squares that are half the size. I hope you guys have a great Mother's Day, and I hope to see you again very soon. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed and liked to my YouTube channel yet, please do so. It always helps if you do. Thanks for watching. And I'll post some pictures now of the completed project. Have a great day. Bye-bye.